Hey y'all, just finished washing these stacks of trays that Chelsea and I will be soil blocking in again this week and getting our next succession of plants ready. And I gotta tell y'all, I'm tired. I am tired. I ran Chelsea off a little while ago. She has schoolwork. She graduates on the 11th of May. And she still has some schoolwork that has to be finished up, or some tests to be studied for, or whatever. But anyway, I'd rather be me than her. I do not want to go back to school. But these are the ones that will go in the field this week. As you can see back there, we have the next succession. I think we have 2 successions already of sunflowers in the field. So those, we didn't grow as many this time. We had been growing 5 trays like that. And yeah, this little mess got to go to the sawmill shed, I think. I think that's where they're going. But anyway, let's walk up here and look. You can see, I love it when the sun is hitting the trees in the evening behind that old barn. Isn't that pretty? It's just beautiful. Yeah. Just a little while till chocolate dark. That's what we used to say when the kids were little. But it has been an absolutely, there's my word again, beautiful day. Probably in the mid-70s, but just a little bit of a breeze. And that allowed us to get all of the rest of these in the ground. Because I think I've told y'all before, I have 2 different types of thyroid disease. And when it gets hot, I start melting. I'm like the Wicked Witch on Wizard of Oz. I'm melting. But anyway, so we just get out here early. And pretty soon it's going to have to be earlier. I told Chelsea today, I said, maybe we need to get us one of those headlight lamps that go on, strap onto your forehead. I can see me using those and being out here at midnight working in the garden. I wouldn't mind that at all, because I've always been more of a nighttime person. I wonder if any of y'all have had the experience that I did, when I'm sure that there's more of you than just me. But when the kids were small, and especially, we homeschooled for 17 years. Our children were 8.5 years apart from between Aaron's age and Jared's age. So we started homeschooling when Aaron was going into the 3rd grade and didn't finish until Jared graduated high school. So all total, it was 17 years, even though Aaron finished his last couple of years in public high school. And having the kids at home all the time with me, there were times when I just desperately needed some quiet. So I would stay up at night, and I lost a lot of sleep. If the kids took a nap during the day, I would nap as well. But I really was very much a night owl. It was very restful. Maybe that's the reason I didn't require as much sleep, just because the quiet was so restful. Look over here, y'all. Let me increase the size so I won't talk for a minute. Our little mallards have been traveling all over the farm, just in little groups. These 2 are by themselves, but Hugh and I watched a little mallard male, and he had 3 or 4 females with him a little while ago, walk across the hayfield a little while ago. I don't know. We usually don't see them out loafing as much, but they're probably finding locations to nest. And that concerns me, because I really really don't want to wake up at some morning and find just, dozens and dozens of little ducklings running around all over the place. But anyway, if we do, we do. If we do, I'll put that information in a video, and any of y'all that live close enough, you can come and get you a dozen. Well, you can see all these little plants we put out today. Actually, I hear the geese heard me. They have to start cutting up if they hear me. But they're all standing up nice and tall. There's just a few that are laying over like we really hurt their feelings. So, I don't know. They may still come on. I watered them real good and heavy with the little bladder over there on the tractor. Hugh takes it down to the cattle trough and fills it up for me. And then there's a little pump that's connected. He's got it connected to the hose. And so it gives me plenty of pressure. And it doesn't take but just a minute. Walk up and down these aisles, whatever these things are called. I'm tired, y'all. But I can give them a drink when I need to. And yes, I am very pleased with what they're doing. We have everything from marigolds to celosia to zinnias to, let me see, basil. What all do we have down through here? Gomphrena. It's over in the other bed with the sunflowers. And I don't know. I don't remember what all we have set out. Cosmos. But whatever's out here, it's doing well. They're standing up like little troopers. Except for a few of them. But I think they'll be okay. They'll probably stand up by tomorrow. They just didn't appreciate the sun being so hot on them today, because I have had them over there where I showed you the others that were on the table. And they were somewhat sheltered in the late evening. So, anyway, we have 2 more beds that have the plastic on them. But now this next succession, they'll be going out in about 3 or 4 weeks, and it's really going to be too hot for that black plastic. So I told Chelsea, I said, you know what? We'll leave it on there until the day that we're ready to plant, and then we'll very gently pull it up, and we'll plant just straight in the dirt, and we'll take this black plastic. He was getting ready to put buckwheat on this bed and the bed across the road. So when I'm ready to break that buckwheat down, we'll take these up, plant these beds, and take this black plastic over and put it on the beds where the buckwheat has been turned in, and just give it an extra week to help the buckwheat just very quickly compost. But I was worried about these sunflowers because, if you remember, they were very leggy, and they're still not as healthy looking as I would like to see. I don't think sunflowers actually even require any fertilizer once they go to the field. But I may give these just a little foliar spray, just to give them a little bit of extra. This one's got its little leaf stuck down in the mud. Come on, you. That's not very good. Let's see what you do. But just to see what they do. But they're going to make. I mean, they're going to be fine. It's just they were a little too tall and leggy when we put them in. And it was a little bit early also, because it was, about a week ago? And we're just now in May. Just now. So it's a little early for sunflowers. Next year, I think I will go ahead and put sunflowers out early. But I think I'll still put them in the beds small, and then just cover them over with the Agribond, and that'll keep them warmer for a while, just so I'll have an earlier bloom. Sunflowers are a fast plant because, let me see, from seed to bloom, it's 55 to 65 days. So that's actually pretty fast. And then down here we have some more Gomphrena. And they're standing up all right. There's some little bitty dudes in there. I told Chelsea, I said, just go ahead and plant them. It doesn't matter if they're small. Probably most of them will come on anyway. But I'm just very pleased. I think that we've got a good start on this cut flower venture. And now to watch and wait. Come down here and knock a weed down occasionally and get the rest of the next succession ready and just keep her going. I expect that probably sometime by mid-July this field will be totally full, and then we'll be starting over up here at this upper end. And it's, you know, it's a little more complicated than I had originally thought. Either that or my ability to think clearly it's not what it used to be. I'm kind of thinking it's a bit of both, but I've really got to spend some time in my studies again. My Lisa Ziegler online course that I purchased last year. So I've got to go back and listen again to doing the successions. And she lives in a zone, I think her zone is just one ahead of me. We are in zone 7A now. And actually, she's either 7B or 8A. She's, I think she's 8A maybe. So she's a couple zones ahead of us. But that's all right. We'll get it all figured out. I just need to get it on a calendar, a permanent calendar, so that I don't have to refigure it every year. We did change zones. We were, I think we were 6B, but over the past 10 years, our zone has, our weather, the heat index has crept up and crept up and crept up to the point that we are now a 7A or 7B. I don't remember which, but we did raise a zone. And so we'll have to just reconfigure everything. But yeah, I just wanted you guys to see what we had in the field. And y'all have been so encouraging, and I appreciate that so very much. And look down there. Let me raise this up. I know I showed them to you the other day, but I want you to see how much they've bloomed out. About 50 feet of rhododendron. And when they finish bursting into bloom, that will look like just one big purple ball. It's pretty amazing. We have tractors and pieces of equipment everywhere. Hugh's still working over there in that ditch. It's just not doing exactly what it needs to do. So we've got to go after some more pipe, and John will come up with his machine. Actually, that is John's machine, but he has a smaller machine also. And they'll get it exactly positioned where it needs to be. Hugh took part of the dog fence down because he's getting ready. Well, we're getting ready. I don't know if we'll get it moved this year, but we're going to move the dog fence on out past where the stump is before we move to the back. Simply because I'm going to give the old doggies a little bit bigger area. Not that they need it, because they really don't spend a whole lot of time outside. And as a matter of fact, Nala and Bodie, I need to call Corey that lives above us, she used to be our dog sitter, but we don't go anywhere anymore. So now she and I have a barter eggs for dog nails. And so she will come and trim Nala and Bodhi because neither one of those old dudes go outside much at all. And so they need to have their nails trimmed because they really grow quickly. Something smells so nice out here. I'm not sure exactly what it is I'm smelling, but some kind of a plant. And let's walk over here. You can see the wisteria blooming. I know some of y'all that watch Robert's channel are saying, no, cut that thing down. But you know what? You and I bought this wisteria for my mother-in-law probably about 10 years ago. And we just keep it trimmed. And it usually wraps around these posts. And look at these beautiful little blooms. They'll be opening up soon. And I think it's a very pretty plant. I know it can be invasive, but not the way that we keep it cut back. So we'll never let it invade the world. And all of these need to be replaced. At least the tops of them need to be replaced this next year, or this fall, and repainted. But I tell you what, when you move into an old house, there's so much to be done. And Hugh, before we moved back over, he was working about 60 hours a week. My sister-in-law lived here with my mother-in-law. And my mother-in-law rented the property out to someone that had cattle on it and cut the hay on it because Hugh wasn't, he didn't have time to do any farming at that point. But anyway, he's got the news on, it's loud in there. But anyway, what was I saying? I got distracted, y'all. But we weren't over here a whole lot. And things just kind of fell into disrepair because Hugh didn't really have time to do anything. And my mother, I was caregiver for my mother. She lived with us for the last 14 years of her life, except for the very last year. She was in nursing care because she had reached a point where I couldn't meet her needs. But here's a couple of Hugh's mommy's peonies. And they're getting ready to bloom. Look at that. They are beautiful. And I know a lot of people grow them as a cut flower, but look, they are covered up in ants. So I'm not exactly certain if it's a specific variety that people grow or whether they use some kind of an insecticide to get rid of the ants. And I'm not really a fan of that idea. But everything is quiet over here. I like not hearing the news, especially right now. All right, y'all. I love you much. I hope your evening is as beautiful as it is here. And I am going to go inside and take my shoes off and lean back in my recliner. But I love you much. Have a beautiful, beautiful rest of your evening. Bye-bye.